We'll go global and get smaller.
Yeah.
Let's start with Trump because that seems to be on again, off again. Is he attacking Iran? Is he not attacking Iran?
Not anymore.
Not blowing them to smithereens.
Hard to follow, Mr. Trump.
You think?
Well, I
This
mean,
just in.
nothing new here, of course, regarding Donald Trump. So finally, Donald Trump decided not to attack Iran. Remember, just a few hours ago, he tweeted that he was going to hit Iran very hard tonight. And in the end, he's not. Because apparently, according to the Trump administration, and they came to an agreement with the Iranian government. But on the other side, the Iranian government and official news agency in Iran deny the fact that there has been an agreement.
Doesn't this always happen?
Who's telling the truth here? So according to Donald Trump, there should be an agreement, could be signed as soon as this weekend in Europe by his vice president, J.D. Vance, who would be going in Europe to sign that new agreement with Iran. So we don't know what's happening really here because on the Iranian side, they're denying the fact that they have come to an agreement with the U.S. And on the U.S. side, it seems like Donald Trump is looking for an exit because, as we know, this war is very unpopular in the U.S. Also, not only with the Democrats but also with the Republicans. Remember, Donald Trump just 2 years ago during the last presidential campaign, he promised no more wars.
No.
He would be a pacifier, and yet he declared war on Iran.
Yeah.
And he went into this war thinking it would last only for a few weeks and see where we are at right now. And it's going nowhere for him. Yeah. So attacking Iran again would have been probably a strategic mistake for Trump because he would be once again pushing for other hostilities in the region. And yet again, of course, that would have had a major impact on the prices of oil.
Yeah. Which it already has. I mean, it's been fluctuating all day.
And remember, Donald Trump said he would bring prices of things down. He would kill inflation in the last campaign. So yet again, he's going against the things that he promised in the last campaign because if oil prices are going up, of course, all the rest of it will be going up because we depend on oil to transport all of the goods we consume in North America. So bad decision, lack of clarity, not clear where we're going with Iran, and we're once again caught in a whirlwind with Donald Trump, his impulsivity. One morning he wakes up, he wants to attack Iran, go strong on Iran, and then just a few hours later, it's not going to attack Iran anymore. So,
all right, business as usual. Watch this space. We'll see what happens tonight. Hopefully, there is an agreement, but we'll see. Okay, I want to bring things closer to home, and I don't mean to be flip. Obviously, it's terrible what's happening there, but we don't know, and we'll just have to watch this space. But I do want to know what's happening closer to home because, my goodness, the government has been busy. A flurry of activity at the National Assembly. Let's start with a little bit of good news. There's good news in the economy.
Good news for the economy. So the deficit at the beginning of the year, Finance Minister Éric Girard on the provincial level was expecting the deficit to be at least close to $9.9 billion. And it's breaking news. It just came out like an hour ago. Finally, the deficit will be $2.8 billion lower than what was expected.
Okay, wait, that's good news. It's still like six-something billion.
We still have $7.2 billion in the red, of course, but still, it's 28% less than it was expected.
Woohoo!
That is due in part because the economy is doing better than what was expected. The government has more revenues coming from business taxes, for instance, from also sales taxes. So people are still consuming, and so they're paying QST. And so the government's revenues are higher than what was expected at this point, at this time of the year. So the year ends officially, the fiscal year of the government officially ends on March the 31st. But so far, it's looking pretty good for the government. So maybe, who knows, more leeway for Christine Fréchette to spend even more and make more announcements.
I was going to say then also, the tax break that she gave on households on food and things like cut up fruit, which we all needed desperately. Maybe they didn't cost that much. Maybe we'll see more of those.
Well, it's so far. So the new stuff that she recently announced is going to be implemented in the coming months. So that might have an impact on the government's revenues. But so far this year, since the beginning of the current fiscal year, the economy and the government's revenues have been higher, have been improving much more than what was expected. So that's good news to end the parliamentary session, because the parliamentary session is ending tomorrow in Quebec City at the National Assembly. And they are, as you know, they are in a sprint right now to adopt as many bills as possible.
So how many bills? It feels like
Well,
flurry.
I mean, it was quite ambitious. 19 bills in total that were under review. Of course, most of them will die because the session is ending tomorrow. It won't be extended because for that you would need the agreement of opposition parties. So the session won't be extended to allow parliamentarians to have more time at the National Assembly to review the rest of the bills that are still on the table.
Shocking that they don't want to stay.
Shocking. They don't want to help the government achieve their promises.
So let's talk about some of the things that are out, the sort of big name tickets. One is the Constitution. I think you and I have talked about this on the Big Five, which the opposition parties have always been saying, no, we're not voting for this.
Well, they're not voting for this. On one side, you have Simon-Jolin Barrette, the Justice Minister, who accuses opposition parties of obstruction. And on the other side, you have opposition parties saying, well, I'm sorry, but you had 4 years to do that. You could have done that much earlier. Mm-hmm. We can't just rush the adoption of such an important piece of legislation. And I agree with that.
Also, no consultation.
Well, no consultation. There were consultations at the National Assembly. I don't buy that.
No?
No, really. They consulted. Jolin Barrette tabled major amendments following those consultations. So yes, maybe in the process he could have consulted earlier. That's one thing. Mm-hmm. But still, they consulted as part of the review process of the bill. But to me, it's just like also parliamentarian legislators have a work to do. It's a hefty document, hundreds of pages that they have to go through. And you can't just do that in 48 hours. No. So you have to be serious at some point. This is supposed to be the mother of all laws. Yeah. So you want to be serious at the job you have to do as the legislator to make sure that parliamentarians have the time to go through it and make sure that everything is in place, because you're basically changing the Canadian Constitution here. It's a framework. It's allowed by the Canadian Constitution. It's something other provinces have done in the past. BC has had a provincial constitution since the 1990s, for instance. So it's not unusual for a province to adopt its own constitution, but you have to do it properly, and you have to allow yourselves and the National Assembly the time they need to go through this entire document, which they haven't done.
It definitely feels like they ran out of time. Okay, so there are a bunch of things, and the Constitution is the big thing that they didn't pass. What about things they did pass? Let's talk about energy drinks. That slipped in under the wire.
That's official now. Teenagers aged 16 and under will no longer be allowed to buy energy drinks. That's following, as we know, the death of a young man, 15-year-old young man, who died because of the interaction between energy drinks and the medication he was taking for ADHD. Yeah. Now, in my point of view, and that is very unfortunate, by the way, that a young man died because of that. Very unfortunate.
Of course.
But it is not a problem that applies to the entire population of Quebec. So you have a government here that tries to regulate what we can or cannot do instead of educating people so that they can make clear choices and sound choices with the right information in hand. In my point of view, we're going too far by not allowing people to buy energy drinks altogether, whereas you could just educate them. Put a public health notice. If there's a risk of interaction with certain medication, put a public health notice on those cans when you sell them. That's fine. But banning the sale of these products altogether because one person unfortunately passed away because of the interaction, the problem is not necessarily with energy drinks themselves. It's with the interaction that they might have.
Yeah, I guess. Although you could make the argument for, cigarettes, which are banned for people under a certain age. There are some products which are.
But if
really
the problem is with
egregious.
caffeine interacting with certain medication, are you also going to ban coffee? Because you have to be consistent. You have to be coherent in the legislation you're tabling in the National Assembly. Mm-hmm. Yes, energy drinks, but what do we do with other sources of caffeine and stimulants, for instance? Yeah. They all say, well, experts agree that the energy drinks are bad for your health and the development of your brain. Fair enough. If experts also agree that, for instance, hamburgers and fast food are bad for your health, are we going to ban this as well? Are we going to ban the sale of McDonald's for teenagers aged 16 and under because some experts say it's bad for their health?
Yeah.
At some point, we can't just ban everything and try and regulate people's lives altogether.
It is funny, though, because it does, this government does seem to be quite reactive, right? Mm-hmm. Like things happen. I mean, maybe all governments are like that. Like, let's face it, sometimes you don't realize something.
Reactive and
happens.
Interventionist.
Okay.
It's direct intervention in the lives of people. And in my point of view, provide people with the right information, educate them. Education, 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 so they can make choices by themselves with the right information. That's the way to go.
All right. I think somebody in the room is running for office pretty soon.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm having too much fun doing that to run for office right now, believe me.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast,
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.